Buckle up, everyone, because today's deep dive is going to take us to some pretty amazing places. We're talking about the history of Antarctic exploration and how it actually connects to space exploration. Yep, you heard that right.
It's a pretty wild connection.
It is.
And what's really cool is we've got some pretty interesting sources to work with. On the one hand, we've got accounts from those early explorers who braved the Antarctic, those incredible stories of adventure and survival. And then on the other hand, we've got this website all about how to build a career in space.
So, when I first saw these sources, I was thinking, how on earth, what do these things even have in common? But trust me, as we go from those icy plains of Antarctica out to the vastness of space, you'll start to see the connection.
It'll all come together.
Okay, so let's start with Antarctica. You know this whole idea of a hidden southern land, the Terra Australis Incognita. People have been fascinated by that for centuries, way back in the day. They believed there had to be this massive landmass down south to kind of balance out the continents in the north.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how that idea stuck around for so long. Just based on myths and speculation, it really shows you how powerful human curiosity is. We just have this innate desire to map out the unknown.
It's true.
It's like this deep-seated need to explore.
And it wasn't until the 1770s that we have the legendary explorer James Cook, who actually sailed around the Antarctic Circle.
Yeah.
But get this, even he never laid eyes on the continent itself. He disproved some myths, but the mystery of Antarctica remained.
And you got to think about those voyages Cook was undertaking. I mean, those were incredibly harsh conditions. They were relying on pretty basic navigation tools. It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
Totally.
I mean, those early explorers were seriously pushing the limits.
Yeah, it's amazing how much they accomplished with what they had.
And it really sets the stage for just how challenging and dangerous it was to even reach Antarctica.
And then fast forward to 1820. And that's when we get the first confirmed sightings of Antarctica. And get this. We have 3 different expeditions, all claiming to have spotted the continent pretty much at the same time. We're talking Bellingshausen from Russia, Bransfield from Britain, and Palmer from the United States.
Wow.
Talk about a race to the finish line.
It's like a real-life adventure story unfolding.
It is.
And that competitive spirit, it really captures the essence of what we call the heroic age of Antarctic exploration. That period from the late 19th to early 20th centuries. It was like this incredible surge of exploration driven by these larger-than-life personalities.
Yeah, and you think about the conditions they were facing. Treacherous ice, blinding blizzards, temperatures that could freeze you solid. It's almost unimaginable.
Yeah, it was a different world back then.
It was.
I mean, they were really pushing the boundaries of human endurance.
So we're talking about stories of incredible courage and resilience. And sadly, sometimes tragedy, too. Think about Adrien de Gerlache. His ship, the Belgica, got trapped in the ice for an entire year.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine being stuck in freezing darkness for months on end?
That's just crazy.
It's wild.
Hard to even fathom.
And his crew actually became the first people to overwinter in Antarctica. And even though their experience was harrowing, they collected valuable data on the continent's climate and conditions,
right,
which paved the way for future expeditions.
So even though it was a difficult situation, they made the most of it.
They did.
They were true pioneers.
And then there's that famous race to the South Pole between Robert Falcon Scott and Roald Amundsen. Scott's journey is a tragic one. His entire team perished on the way back. It's a stark reminder of just how unforgiving Antarctica can be.
Yeah, it's a sobering story.
It is.
It shows the power of nature and the risks these explorers were willing to take.
But then on the flip side, you have Ernest Shackleton. He didn't succeed in crossing the continent, but he became a legend for his incredible leadership during the Endurance expedition. His ship got crushed by the ice, but he managed to get his entire crew back alive.
Now that's what I call leadership.
It's remarkable.
Talk about resilience and resourcefulness.
Seriously.
In the face of overwhelming odds.
I mean, it's just incredible.
And it's not just about survival. These early expeditions, even the ones that ended in tragedy, they actually played a crucial role in changing our perspective on Antarctica.
What do you mean?
Well, those early expeditions were driven by national pride, the desire for conquest. But they also sparked a growing appreciation for the scientific potential of Antarctica.
I see.
The data they collected on geology, climate, even penguin populations. It fueled a whole new wave of exploration.
So it was like a shift from conquering the continent to actually trying to understand it.
Exactly.
That's fascinating.
And that shift really gained momentum in the 1940s and 50s. Countries like the U.S. and Britain
Yeah,
started
cool.
establishing permanent research stations in Antarctica. It marked a move towards long-term scientific study.
And then came the International Geophysical Year, or IGY for short, back in 1957 and 58. This was a massive collaborative effort involving 12 nations, all focused on studying the Earth as a system. They set up bases all across Antarctica and collected data on a huge range of topics, from geology to glaciology to the atmosphere.
Yeah, the IGY was a game changer. It fostered this unprecedented level of international cooperation in scientific research, really set the stage for the Antarctic Treaty
The treaty.
just a few years later.
Yes, the Antarctic Treaty, signed in 1961,
Right.
essentially designates Antarctica as a place for peaceful scientific exploration and bans any military activity. So the Antarctic Treaty basically turned Antarctica from this potential Cold War battleground into this incredible hub for international scientific collaboration.
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing achievement. And it also highlights the importance of protecting Antarctica's environment.
Right.
Because you see, what makes Antarctica so unique is that it plays this crucial role in regulating the Earth's climate.
Okay, so we all know Antarctica has a ton of ice, but how does that actually impact the climate on a global scale?
Well, imagine this: Antarctica holds something like 70% of the world's fresh water, mostly locked up in those massive ice sheets. And as those ice sheets melt, due to rising global temperatures, that water flows into the ocean, leading to rising sea levels.
Right, and I've read that even small changes in sea level can have a huge impact on coastal communities around the world.
Absolutely. And it's not just about rising waters either. Changes in Antarctica's ice sheet can disrupt ocean currents and even influence weather patterns far beyond the continent itself.
So it's all connected.
It really is. It highlights how interconnected the Earth's systems are.
It's kind of mind-blowing to think about how our actions in one part of the world can have such far-reaching consequences.
It's true. It's a reminder that we're all part of this delicate balance.
Totally. But it's not just climate change that poses a challenge, right? We talked earlier about the growing tourism industry in Antarctica.
Yeah, that's right. Tourism is a bit of a double-edged sword. On one hand, it allows people to experience the incredible beauty and wonder of Antarctica firsthand. It can foster a deeper appreciation for its fragility and the need for conservation. But on the other hand, there's always the risk of negative environmental impact.
Yeah, I imagine even a small human footprint can have a big impact in such a pristine environment. What kind of impacts are we talking about?
Well, think about the increased ship traffic, the potential for pollution, and even the disturbance of wildlife. These are all factors that need careful consideration and management.
So how do we balance the desire for people to see and learn about Antarctica with the need to protect it for future generations?
That's the million-dollar question. There are strict regulations in place to minimize the environmental impact of tourism. For example, there are limits on the number of tourists allowed ashore at any given time, and guidelines for waste disposal. Tour operators are also required to educate their passengers about responsible behavior in Antarctica.
Just so there are measures in place to try to mitigate the risks.
Yes, and it's an ongoing effort. We're constantly learning and adapting to ensure that tourism is done as sustainably as possible.
That's good to hear. But shifting gears a bit, I have to go back to something that really blew my mind earlier: the connection between Antarctica and space exploration. I'm still trying to wrap my head around how studying a frozen desert can help us understand the cosmos.
It might seem like a stretch at first, but think about it this way. Antarctica offers this unique environment for studying the limits of life. The extreme cold, the isolation, the prolonged darkness during the winter months. These conditions are actually quite similar to what we might find on other planets or moons in our solar system.
So it's like a natural laboratory for astrobiology, the study of life beyond Earth.
Exactly. Scientists are looking at how organisms survive in Antarctica's harshest environments, from tiny microbes living within the ice itself to creatures thriving in the depths of the Southern Ocean. By studying these extremophiles, as they're called, we can gain insights into the potential for life to exist in otherworldly environments.
Can you give me a specific example? What kind of organisms are we talking about?
Well, take tardigrades, for example.
Yeah.
These microscopic creatures, also known as water bears, are incredibly resilient. They can survive extreme temperatures, radiation, even the vacuum of space.
Wow.
By studying how tardigrades adapt to Antarctica's harsh conditions, we can learn about the potential for life to exist in similar environments on other planets.
Tardigrades in space. That's just mind-boggling.
It is pretty amazing, and it makes you wonder, if life can thrive in the most extreme environments on Earth, why not elsewhere in the universe?
Exactly. Are there any other ways that Antarctic research contributes to our understanding of space?
Absolutely. Antarctica is also a valuable testing ground for technologies that can be used in space exploration. For example, the McMurdo Dry Valleys, one of the coldest and driest places on Earth, is being used to test robots and equipment that might one day be deployed on Mars.
So it's like a Martian simulator right here on Earth.
In a way, yes. And the data collected from these tests helps refine the design and functionality of instruments that will be used to explore other worlds.
It's incredible to think that the icy landscapes of Antarctica are paving the way for future space missions.
It really highlights the interconnectedness of scientific exploration. Whether we're looking up at the stars or down at the frozen ground beneath our feet, the pursuit of knowledge often leads us down unexpected paths.
Speaking of unexpected paths, I'm curious about the role of technology in Antarctic research. We talked earlier about some of the challenges facing Antarctica. Are there any technological advancements that are helping to address these challenges, or even leading to new discoveries?
Absolutely. Technology is playing a pivotal role in Antarctic research, both in terms of understanding the continent and in protecting it. For example, scientists are using drones equipped with high-resolution cameras and sensors to map vast areas of Antarctica, gathering data on ice sheet thickness, wildlife populations, and even changes in the landscape over time.
So drones are giving us a much more detailed and comprehensive view of the continent.
Exactly. And it's not just drones. Scientists are also deploying underwater robots to explore the depths of the Southern Ocean. These robots can venture beneath the ice shelves, where it's too dangerous for humans to go, and capture images and data on the unique ecosystems thriving in those dark, frigid waters.
It's amazing how technology is opening up new frontiers within a frontier.
It really is.
Are there any other breakthroughs on the horizon that you're particularly excited about?
One area that holds immense promise is artificial intelligence. AI algorithms are being developed to analyze the vast amounts of data collected from satellites, drones, and other sensors. This could revolutionize our understanding of everything from ice melt patterns and sea level rise to the behavior of wildlife populations.
So AI could help us predict and potentially mitigate some of the most serious consequences of climate change.
That's the hope. And it's not just about predicting the future. AI could also help us analyze past trends and identify patterns that might not be apparent to the human eye. This could lead to new insights into the history of Antarctica and its role in the global climate system.
It sounds like technology is not only expanding our knowledge of Antarctica, but also providing us with tools to protect it.
It's a powerful combination.
It's a reminder that while we face significant challenges, there's also incredible potential for innovation and solutions.
And it's not just about technology either. The spirit of international collaboration that was fostered by the Antarctic Treaty continues to be a driving force in Antarctic research. Scientists from around the world are sharing data, working together on joint projects, and pooling their expertise to tackle some of the most pressing questions facing our planet.
It's inspiring to see how collaboration and a shared commitment to scientific discovery can transcend national boundaries. It really gives me hope for the future of Antarctica and our ability to address the challenges we face.
And that brings us to a crucial point: the future of Antarctica. It's a future that's inextricably linked to our own actions and choices. The fate of this icy continent and the delicate ecosystems it supports rests in our hands. We've seen how Antarctica's ice sheets play a vital role in regulating global sea levels and climate patterns. We've witnessed the incredible biodiversity thriving in its extreme environments. And we've begun to grasp the profound connection between Antarctic research and our understanding of the universe. But now we must ask ourselves, what kind of future do we want for Antarctica? What legacy will we leave for future generations?
That's a powerful question, and it's one that I think each of us needs to grapple with. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the scale of the challenges we face, but I also believe that every action we take, no matter how small, can make a difference. Supporting policies that address climate change, reducing our own carbon footprint, advocating for sustainable practices, these are all steps in the right direction.
I couldn't agree more. It's about recognizing that we are all connected, not just to each other, but to the planet as a whole. What happens in Antarctica affects us all, and our choices today will shape the future of this incredible continent and the world we leave behind.
So as we move into the final part of our deep dive, I want to encourage our listener to reflect on what they've learned about Antarctica and its significance for humanity. What stood out to you? What surprised you? And most importantly, what will you do with this knowledge? We've come a long way, haven't we? From those ancient myths about a hidden southern land to the reality of this incredible continent that holds so many secrets about our planet. and maybe even life beyond Earth.
It's been quite a journey. We've explored those daring expeditions, uncovered the shift from conquest to scientific discovery, and witnessed the power of international collaboration.
And we faced the stark realities of climate change and the challenges of balancing human activities with environmental protection.
So now as we wrap up our deep dive, let's turn our attention to the future of Antarctica, a future filled with both promise and uncertainty.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things I've learned is just the sheer scale and complexity of Antarctica. It's not just this frozen wasteland like some people might think. It's a dynamic, ever-changing environment that plays a crucial role in the Earth's systems.
It really is. And it's a place where the past, present, and future are all intertwined. The decisions we make today will have a ripple effect for generations to come. So let's talk about some of those decisions. What are some of the key factors that will shape the future of Antarctica?
Well, climate change is obviously a huge factor. The rate at which Antarctica's ice sheets are melting is accelerating, and that has implications for sea levels, ocean currents, weather patterns around the world.
Yeah, and the melting ice also creates new opportunities. Some good, some not so good. We're already seeing increased interest in Antarctica's resources, things like mineral deposits and fishing grounds.
Right, and that raises some tough questions. How do we balance those economic interests with the need to protect Antarctica's fragile environment? Can the Antarctic Treaty System, which has been so successful in promoting peace and scientific collaboration, can it adapt to these new challenges?
Those are really important questions, and there are no easy answers. But I do believe that the key lies in continued international cooperation, sound scientific research, and a commitment to finding sustainable solutions.
And I think it's also important to remember that the future of Antarctica is not just about politics and economics, it's about people. The scientists who are dedicated to understanding this continent, the tourists who come to experience its wonder, and the future generations who will inherit the legacy we leave behind.
That's a great point. Antarctica has this incredible power to inspire awe and wonder. It reminds us of how interconnected we all are and the importance of protecting our planet.
Speaking of inspiration, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the future of Antarctic research. What are some of the exciting developments on the horizon? What mysteries are scientists still trying to unravel?
Well, technology is playing a bigger and bigger role in Antarctic research. We're using drones, robots, satellite imagery to gather data and explore areas that were once out of reach. And new technologies like artificial intelligence are helping us make sense of this massive amount of information.
So we're getting a much clearer picture of how Antarctica works
Yeah,
and how it's changing.
exactly. And that knowledge is crucial for making informed decisions about the future of the continent. But there's still so much we don't know. Scientists are studying everything from the history of Antarctica's ice sheets to the unique life forms that survive in those extreme environments. And there's still mysteries to be solved, like the possibility of hidden subglacial lakes and the secrets locked away in those ancient ice cores.
It sounds like there's no shortage of work for future scientists.
Not at all. Antarctica is a place of constant discovery and exploration. It's a place that pushes us to expand our knowledge and understanding.
So as we wrap up our deep dive, what's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember about Antarctica?
I think the most important thing is to remember that Antarctica is not just this distant icy continent. It's a vital part of our planet, and its fate is intertwined with our own. What happens in Antarctica affects us all. And we have a responsibility to learn about it, protect it, and ensure a bright future for this incredible place.
Well said. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Antarctica. We hope you've learned something new and that you've come away with a newfound appreciation for this amazing continent.
Until next time, keep exploring.